Washington blinked. But do not misread the signal. The reported lifting of restrictions on Anthropic does not mean the artificial intelligence control fight is over. It means the new rules are now visible. Frontier artificial intelligence can be restricted. Access can be gated. Capability can be segmented. Customers can be interrupted. And the vendor may not fully control its own roadmap once the government decides a model is too powerful. That is strategic capability, and every board should be paying attention. The headline says restrictions were lifted. The deeper story says something else. Access may be restored, but permission is now part of the product. That changes everything. The old enterprise assumption was simple. If we buy the software, we get the software. The new frontier artificial intelligence assumption is colder. If we buy the capability, we get whatever version remains available after regulators and vendor risk decisions are done with it. That is the new contract reality. That is the new vendor risk. That is the new board-level dependency problem. Some frontier artificial intelligence is now being treated as dual-use capability, useful for productivity, useful for cybersecurity, useful for code, but also potentially useful for exploitation, cyber offense, strategic intelligence, and national security risk. That is the collision. The artificial intelligence company wants deployment. The customer wants access. The government wants control. Wall Street wants growth, and none of those incentives are perfectly aligned. This is the Machiavellian center of the story. Everyone wants the power. Everyone wants someone else to carry the risk. Now connect this to the initial public offering wave. Private artificial intelligence companies can survive on narrative, vision, growth, strategic investors. But public companies live under a colder system. Securities and Exchange Commission reporting, quarterly results, margin scrutiny, risk disclosures, revenue quality, cash burn. Once frontier artificial intelligence companies go public, Wall Street will stop asking only, how powerful is the model? Wall Street will ask, how much does it cost to run? What happens if government restricts it? This is the squeeze. Wall Street wants acceleration. Washington wants restraint. Enterprise buyers want reliability. But frontier artificial intelligence cannot satisfy all three perfectly. That is the pressure chamber. And pressure chambers do not stay theoretical. They show up in contracts, in pricing, in access rights, in product availability. For enterprise buyers, the lesson is brutal. You may be building workflows around a vendor whose best capability can be restricted by government action, repriced after public market pressure, limited by safety policy. Boards need to ask, what happens if the model is restricted? What happens if the capability is downgraded? What is the fallback plan? If leadership cannot answer, the enterprise is not buying artificial intelligence. It is renting uncertainty. Main Street will not experience this as a policy footnote. Main Street will experience the consequences. Wall Street will chase the upside. Main Street may absorb the cost. That is how the machine works. The next artificial intelligence divide may not be who has AI and who does not. It may be who gets the strongest version, who gets full access, who gets restricted access. This is capability allocation, and capability allocation is power. In the AIPOC.AI red zone, identify exposure. Map the artificial intelligence vendors. Map the frontier model dependencies. Red zone means asking the question, what happens if access changes tomorrow? In the AIPOC.AI yellow zone, prove control before scale. Validate return on investment. Validate fallback models. Proof is the gate. No proof, no scale. In the AIPOC.AI green zone, govern readiness. Deploy only when the enterprise can monitor the system. Interrupt it, audit it, switch it. That is readiness. Everything else is exposure wearing a strategy label. Here is the hard warning. The lifting of restrictions does not end the risk. It proves the risk. Washington can pull the plug. Wall Street can demand growth anyway. Do not confuse access with control. For more hard-hitting executive briefings on artificial intelligence governance and 2030 readiness, visit the YouTube channel AIPOC Powered and go to www.aipoc.ai.